How you doing? I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Question today is, can you end up in hospital from quitting drinking alcohol? And the quick answer is, of course you can, right? You can end up in hospital from drinking too much water, right? You have to ask yourself, why are you in hospital in the first place, right? Is it because you've quit drinking all of a sudden and you're in hospital because you've quit drinking? Or is it because you were drinking all the stuff in the first place and you've been drinking it for years and years and years, and because of all the damage that it's done to you, and now all of a sudden, whoa, you've quit drinking and you're in hospital because you've quit, right? That's not the reason why you're in hospital. The reason why you're in hospital is because you drank the stuff. You know, you've been consistently, persistently forcing yourself to drink alcohol, drink this toxin for many, many years, right? Now, if you go into a hospital at 2 o'clock in the morning, right, the amount of people you will see in there with injuries because they've been drinking alcohol, I'm not sure statistically. I think if you asked anyone from one of these units that's open at 2 o'clock, what are they called? A&E, accident and emergency, you'll find that 50-60% of the people that are in there are because of alcohol, right? You know, and I've heard people saying, you can die from not quitting, you're a fucking asshole for saying this, and people can die from not quitting. Yeah, they can die from not quitting, but 3.5 million people a year, right, die because they didn't quit, right? 3.5 million people die every single year from the causes that have happened because they've been drinking, not because they quit, right? Over 200 different medical conditions are caused by people who drink alcohol, by the alcohol in their systems, right? By the consistent and accumulation of toxic buildup in their systems, by the damage that alcohol is causing to their systems, by drinking this stuff over and over again. I mean, there's a term that people love to bandy around for people who quit alcohol, right? First of all, they say, well, you know, you're alcoholics, but they also say, well, it's alcohol abuse, right? Alcohol abuse. Now, for me, alcohol is a toxin, right? So you're abusing your body as soon as you put the stuff into it, right? Regardless of whether you call it wine or beer or 200-year-old malt, right? Regardless of whether it's cost you $1 to buy a bottle of wine or it's cost you $10,000 to buy a bottle of wine, it's still the same stuff. It's still a toxic poison that you are deliberately putting inside your body, right? So alcohol abuse is putting the stuff into your body in the first place. You know, alcohol has got its uses. You can use it as a solvent, right? You can use it as a fuel. You can use it to rub down greyhounds. I've heard loads of people saying that about poaching, you know. And you only really drink the good stuff. I mean, what the fuck does that mean? You know, the stuff that tastes good. What's the good stuff? The stuff that gives you the best buzz, stuff that doesn't give you too much of a hangover. You know, people are cracked. You know, we live in a society which tolerates this kind of consistent and persistent intoxication of people, you know. I mean, I'm all for getting a buzz and getting out there and getting high, but there's so many natural highs that you can get in life. But the big problem with the natural highs is they're free, right? You don't have to pay for them. It's the same thing as Whole Foods, you know. The reason why you don't see massive advertising campaigns for proper, nutritious, natural whole foods is because there's no money in it, you know. The only money is when you break down the whole foods and you repackage it into something else, right? And then you can take a potato and make it up into a fancy thing, add another couple of ingredients and charge 10 times the amount for it, you know, that you would have got if you were only selling a potato, right? I'm drifting off subject here. Now, if you go into any hospital throughout your country, right? Any country, you'll find that the vast majority of people are in there because of things that they've done to themselves, because of causes that they have done, lifestyle choices that they've made, either in the stuff that they're doing or the stuff that they're not doing, right? So stuff that they're not doing is getting exercise, getting out there and breathing the air of life, you know, and the stuff that they're doing is just putting crap into the body, whether that's food or drink. And, you know, I tell people, you know, I've made a few videos where a sort of controversial subject, which, you know, like, do you get alcohol withdrawal symptoms? You know, are they natural, or can you bring them on yourself? Or can you die from drinking alcohol? Or can you die from not drinking alcohol, from quitting? And, you know, I always say in these videos that the best thing that you can do is to go to your doctor, right? Without a doubt, right? Because you shouldn't be looking for information like this on the internet. You know, I try and teach as much as I can that your choice, your destiny is in your hands. You know, what you do is up to you. That as soon as you start believing it in a disease, in an alcoholic gene, in anything that takes the power outside of your control, that's exactly what it does. Is you cede your power to something outside of yourself, something that you have no control over, and therefore you lose a lot of your own personal power, right? But there's a big difference between quitting drinking alcohol and thinking that it's okay to do it, right? And you can do this on your own, because 95% of the withdrawal symptoms that you're going to go through are in the mind. It's psychological, you know, it's anxiety, it's people fearing what is going to happen next, you know, people, a lot of the cravings are because they just want to go back and they want to have that drink, they want to have that last instant gratification buzz, you know, they don't want to wait for it. And this is the problem. This is a psychological problem, it's not a medical issue. The medical issue comes about, as I say, from people who have just drank a lot of alcohol over many years, and they've caused themselves a lot of medical conditions. Now, the only way that you're going to know if that's the case for you is if you get medical advice, right? Now, I'm not telling you that you need to get medical treatment. What I am saying is that at least go and get medical advice. Now, if the doctor says to you, look, I can't find anything wrong with you, right? There's nothing wrong with you. Takes liver tests, you know, and does all the tests that you can, the blood tests and all that kind of stuff, and says, you're fine, right? But if you want help with quitting drinking alcohol, you're going to have to go here or there or the other, you know, because that's where you're going to get some help. And he's talking about psychological help, right? So, in my opinion, that's when you can sort of take it as given that you can do this on your own, right? You know, psychological help is something that is, you know, people can tell you a lot of different things. You know, people can point you in the right direction, right? And say, this is the way that you should be going, and this is what's happening in your life. This is how your habit is formed, and this is how you're going to break it down, right? But you still have to do the work yourself, right? So, in my opinion, a lot of these places that we're directed to as patients from doctors, right, are counterproductive, right? You know, the AA, for instance, right, for me, all that stuff about standing up and refusing to leave the alcohol behind you by just keeping the alcohol in front of you, calling yourself an alcoholic all the time, saying that you need an intervention from a higher power, that you have to give yourself over, that you have to admit to all these things that you've done in your past and all that. For me, that's counterproductive to moving on, because it's holding you back in that mentality of being an alcoholic, right? Of drinking alcohol. It's holding you back in the behavior. It's taking away from the fact that it is a behavior, that it is based on rituals, and that you have formed a habit over a lifetime, over, you know, for me, when I stopped drinking 35 years, that's a lifetime, because I don't remember much about my life before I started drinking, you know. There are various people, right? People with vested interests in the quit alcohol business, right? Who will say that nobody should ever quit drinking alcohol on their own without medical supervision, right? Now, if you follow through with this, the logic of this, right? They're basically saying that anyone who's drinking alcohol, right, once they stop drinking alcohol, it's then that they should get medical supervision, right? But I haven't found any place that you can find statistical numbers, right, for deaths of people who are quitting drinking alcohol. You know, whenever you put it in, you come up with names like Amy Winehouse or people who have died while they've been quitting drinking, right? But you can never find, I've never come up with statistics. Now, you go to the World Health Organization and you try and find it there, you can't. But the World Health Organization, now this is these are verifiable facts, verifiable figures, and it's from a reputable scientific organization. And they say that 3.5 million people die every year, and there's over 200 conditions which are caused by alcohol drinking. But people say that it's only when you quit drinking that you need to get medical supervision. Now, if 3.5 million people are dying, right, every single year throughout the world, and there's 200 different medical conditions that are caused by drinking this toxin, why does nobody suggest that you need to have medical supervision when you're taking this drug? You know, it just doesn't make sense. You know, all the statistics are there to prove that the people who drink the stuff are the ones who are going to die, who are going to get all these horrible conditions. And yet, when you search out quit drinking, or when you mention quitting drinking on your own and doing something for yourself and getting rid of this toxin out of your life, it's only then that people stand up and start shouting, "You can't do this without medical supervision." So just think about that one. You know, who are you most likely to see in a hospital through alcohol? The ones that have quit, or the ones who are still drinking and they're in there because of their drinking? You know, because even the ones that are in there because they quit are in there because of their drinking. You know, they're in there because of the damage that has already been caused by the alcohol. And there's so much damage caused that their body can't handle themselves when they actually want to quit the drinking again, you know. So I'll leave it there. Go on over to the website, and if you're looking for help to quit your own drinking habit, get away from alcohol altogether, you can sign up for our quit drinking starter pack. It's just chocker full of different bits and pieces to help you, a couple of video courses, books and other bits and pieces, and it's absolutely free. So come over to the website and sign up for that. Give us your name and email address and I'll send it out to you. Until next time, I'm Kevin O'Hara for alcoholmastery.com. Take care of yourself, onwards and upwards. Take care. Bye now.